Hello guys, welcome back to Field Skills. I'm David Fields, and today we're going to talk about fire, and especially the next fire. Developing a method to be able to start another fire when your ferro rod, your lighter, whatever may be out. We're going to show you how to char natural materials and then start a fire with char cloth or charred material in just a minute. I started that first fire with wanted to show you a where was it? Put it in my front pocket, with a piece of that wax dipped jute twine. I'll give you a closer up view of that. We did it in another video, talked about them. Taking pieces of jute twine, heating up some guff wax, some paraffin wax, melting it down, getting it liquid, dipping these in, and then being able to start a fire with them, get them to take a spark and get a fire started. So that's how I started this fire. I could have done it with my lighter, anything, but next we're going to talk about, as I said earlier, the next fire, and we're going to char material and make a charred fire in just a minute. Now what we do to create charred material is we take natural materials, cotton, and one of the things I love to do is to sneak in and steal some of these cotton, 100% cotton makeup pads out of my wife's drawer. They char up great, take a spark great, and do it. But we can use natural, just a piece. I've got this old ragged piece of cotton bandana. Cotton material is great. This one's about half rotted, so just tear off pieces and we'll put them in here and char the material, and I'll show you that in a minute. Another great thing to char very easily is some of that jute twine. It's a natural material. Put it in, char it, it'll take a spark, not from a from a ferrocerian rod, but it'll take it, we're going to do it from the back of our knife and show it throwing a spark that is not as hot as a ferrocerian, but it will take an ember and we can blow it into flame. But you can use jute twine, or you can use some natural material. This pithy, this is some last summer's dead goldenrod. And we can take that and break it up into pieces, and this soft material on the inside will char up very nicely, and we'll take a spark very easily. So we'll char some jute twine, some cotton materials, and all in our tin. It's very easy. This is an Altoids tin. Works great for it. It won't burn up, and you need some type of metal tin container. put it in. We're going to put it in the fire in just a minute and let that material char, and we'll talk about the charring process in a minute. Alright guys, let's talk about charring. And if you remembered back in our some of our original videos talking about our needs and priorities, we talked about the triangle of fire. And fire takes three elements. It takes heat, it takes oxygen, and it takes fuel. And you remove one of these elements, you won't get fire. If you don't have enough oxygen, fire won't come into flame through that. If you don't have the heat, you can't get your fuel started even with the oxygen. So the point is, you've got to have all three legs of that to start fire: heat, oxygen, and fuel. Now what we do in charring is we take away one of those legs. We take away the oxygen. We put our fuel, which is cotton material we talked about. We can place some of these cotton pads in there. Pieces of cotton bandana, cotton material work great. That's one of the multi-uses of having cotton with you, some type of cotton to do it. Jute twine. I just tied up some little short pieces, tied them in a knot. We'll put those in to char them. We talked about this charring natural materials, this piece of goldenrod and its pithy center. I'm going to put a few pieces of that in there. Break it down where it'll fit in. And what we do is close that up, and we're going to put that tin into the coals of our fire and let it, I know you can't see it, but I have punched, actually drilled just a little small vent hole in the top of that, just very fine, to let the gases out as this thing heats, and it's going to turn charred black. It's going to become like charcoal, this natural material. And we do that in the fire, and once we quit seeing steam, smoke coming out of this, we know our material should be about charred. So let's stick this in the fire, and in just a little bit we'll have some charred material. Okay, what we're going to do is take our Altoids tin with our natural materials, cotton, little goldenrod pith, some jute twine, and we're just going to slide it up in those coals right there. And just let that heat. Let the heat from that fire char, it'll turn it black. Char that material in there, and in just a little bit we can pull it out, let it cool down, and then we can, it will be char material, and we'll see if it'll take a spark. So let's give that just a little bit of time to do its thing, and we'll turn the camera back on when it's time to take it out. Okay guys, let's take this out and see, let it cool down. As you can see, it's really heated up that tin through there, and let me grab a couple. Alright, we'll make a couple little chopsticks here. Set this thing out and let it cool. Now you don't want to open this up to the air, because you got the heat, you got the fuel, you let oxygen back in before it cools down. This could burst into flames. So we're going to set it to the side right here, let this thing cool down for a little bit, and then we'll open it up and see what our charred material looks like. So, hello guys. Well, I guess you can tell this is a different day. I'm wearing different clothes. Started shooting this video last week. Weekend, and got called back to the house. Had a little minor emergency, a water leak in the laundry room, so had to go back and do plumbing last weekend, and then Sunday it rained and I couldn't get back out here, so I'm having to do it next weekend to complete this charred material, the char cloth video we started last week. So that's why the difference, and maybe different lighting and all, because it's a whole different day a week later to finish this up. But last week when we started, we got our fire going and we put our charred material in. We used some of those cotton makeup pads, a piece of old cotton bandana, 100% cotton. We used some jute twine. Let me show you what happened. And we charred all that. There's some that goldenrod we put in there to char, a little bit of jute twine in there, charred it. There's the makeup pad, and then a little bit of a cotton bandana material. So all of that went into our charred tin. We put that in the fire and let that just char, carbonize as it was in the heat, depriving it of oxygen so it would turn into carbon. And now we're going to see if we can strike a spark off the back of our knife and get an ember going in this char cloth. So let me zoom the camera in and we'll see if this charred material works. Okay guys, first thing we want to do is create our bird's nest. And I went out and found some good dried pine straw out there. I'm going to use as part of my bird nest material here. It should take to a flame real easily. Then I went and got some tops out of some old dead goldenrod. This will really catch well. I got some a little more sticky material and just break that up some. And I'm going to set that in to that to help create my bird nest. I found a little old piece of jute twine here that I just unbraided and creating some surface area. We'll throw that into the middle as something to help us get started there. And then I had found some old cedar bark, and I'm just going to break that into some fine material, shred that up here real good. And hopefully we can get an ember going in this charred material, and get us a thing. Then when we get the ember, we can create that in there, and hopefully that'll get us started, get us a fire going. We can blow that into flame. So let's set that aside. We've got our bird nest set. Now, as you remember, we've got our charred material in here, ready to take a spark. See if we can get that started. I wanted to show you this. It's my flint and steel kit, piece of carbon steel, high carbon steel, and a good piece of flint or chert. You need a good hard rock that will throw sparks. I don't know if you can see those coming off of there, but you can throw sparks right off of one of these with a hard rock. But what we're going to use today to see if we can get something going, I'm going to put that piece of steel in and show you how to use your knife. Now, if you go back and talk about knives, one of the key ingredients to a good bush knife is the 90-degree spine on the back for scraping, for striking on your ferrocerium rod. But having a high carbon steel knife rather than stainless steel, you can't throw sparks off stainless steel, but a good high carbon steel knife will allow you to throw sparks off of it. That's one of the multiple uses of your knife. So let's see what we can do here. And I'm just going to lay it down beside it. Right here. If I can get a spark to catch. Some sparks hitting it. Oh, ho, ho. Look right here. Got it going. I don't know if you can see that, but we've got an ember in that piece of char cloth, so let's see if we can get it in here and blow this thing into flame. Let the air get to it. I'm gonna back you off here a minute. And let's get the give it some air. And there we go. We've got flame. Let's turn that over on itself. Then as that's burning, one of the things we can do, should have closed that up, cut the air off to it, and that will die out. Cut the oxygen off to it, and then that will die out and can be used again. Alright, from some charred material in the back of our knife with a hard piece of rock, flint or chert, we struck a spark, got that charred material, an ember going in it that we were able to blow into flame and start a fire. And that's where we talk about preparing our next fire. You get a fire going, put you some cotton material into your tin, put it into that fire. Always keep you some charred material around. May help you create that next fire with it. Of course, you're going to have multiple ways to create a fire with a lighter, your ferrocerian rod, maybe matches, but being able to do it with flint and steel, high carbon steel, is a great tool to have in your survival bag. So I hope you've enjoyed this. It's been kind of disjointed this week, but I hope you'll tune in next time, where I've also started last week and doing it this week, a video on my catch kit, my small mini fishing kit, and we're going to finish that up, and we'll have it posted soon. But I hope you'll tune in again and join us here on Field Skills. And as I end all my videos, it's with the quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, where Emerson said, "Life is not a destination, life is a journey." So I hope you'll join us next time as we journey to self-reliance here in the great outdoors. I'm David Fields, and you've been watching Field Skills.